Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Yider Insurance Group, Forward Corporation and T.R. McTaggart, Angler Quest Boats, Security Credit Union, Garber Chevrolet, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. Glad to have you along with us. Now, I said radio there twice back to back. This is, first and foremost, a radio show, and if you're listening on your local radio station, you say, well, of course it is. And I do think that's the best way to listen, on your local AM or FM station, because there you can get your local news, weather, and sports, and maybe even a local, some kind of a deal, some kind of a sale you want to take advantage of going into Christmas here. Also, as somebody pointed out, one of our listeners pointed out last week to me, hey, you can hear the broadcast version of the show before you can hear the podcast version. So that's another good reason to listen to the radio version of Outdoor Magazine Radio. But I do also offer a podcast version of the show, and it's nothing more than the audio from the radio, the sound from the radio show, made available somewhere other than on your local radio station. Now, where can you hear it? Well, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. You can go to the website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. It's up there every week, as well as many other Outdoor Magazine and Mike Avery Outdoors related topics and content. You can also hear it on my Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page. I post the podcast every Sunday afternoon at 6 o'clock, so that's when you can find it. We're on Amazon Music. I put it on my Avery Outdoors Twitter feed. It's on LinkedIn, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, radio.com, and I always forget to mention that the radio show is also available on YouTube. I know, it's a radio show. Why would I put it on YouTube? Well, because I technically can. I have the ability to do it. So it's on YouTube as well if you want to listen to it on YouTube. In addition to the radio show, the podcast version of the radio show, I also do podcasts every month for Jay's Sporting Goods, Offshore Tackle, Angler Quest Boats, Killer Food Plots, Polar Craft Boats, and a quarterly podcast for the folks at MUCC. And starting in January, we're going to add another podcast to the Outdoor Magazine Podcast Network. Details on that coming up. Regardless, though, of how you listen to the show, whether it's the broadcast version or the podcast, thank you. The fact that you're listening to my voice right now means a lot to me. There are many, many different media sources coming at you these days. There's so much content out there these days, and the fact that you've chosen to spend a little time with me here on the radio show, I do certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much. In hour number 1, at the end of hour number 1, Brad Dupuis of Apex Marine was talking about his deer hunting and how he feels that it's been negatively impacted by the large number of coyotes in his area. Well, I know a guy who can take care of your coyote population. His name is Bob Abbott. He's with Dog Tired TV. You can find him on Facebook. And Bob is the guy who is generally given credit here in Michigan for pushing for and getting the use of centerfire rifles approved for predator hunting after dark. So he's very well respected here in our state because of that and much more. And he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Bob, welcome back. How have you been?
Hi, Mike. Doing well. Enjoying the day. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing good. My deer hunting season has been successful, not in the terms of shooting anything, but just getting out and having fun. I haven't seen in my area any coyotes while I've been hunting, but I have every night before dark. I hear them start to yip and howl. They're out there, and I think they're just about everywhere in our state now, aren't they, Bob?
Yeah, well, they they have sustained very well, as that's well known. They're known for that. But we've the Dog Tired TV crew most of the other guys, not myself so much. I've kind of slowed down, haven't gotten out much this year. I did take a double here, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago or so. But, yeah, we've been hitting them as hard as possible. Of course, you've got other guys in the state that are doing very well. Randy Bundy.
I've had Randy on, yep.
Yes, I know. He's a pretty consistent killer there. But we just recently also got, right after the center fire at night passed, I approached the National Resource Commission because it was illegal to hunt from an elevated platform at night for anything. And when I approached them back right after that center fire got passed, they kind of went, oh, that's something we should consider. So the fur harvester laws are cycled every 2 years. So when the second year came around, they have granted us permission now to use an elevated platform at night for, coyote, fox, raccoon, possum, and during the daytime, an elevated platform for bobcats. So that was pretty good. The other thing it went through was Air Force Sightmark had sent me a Air Force Texan SS and a Wraith scope to test out. And I had to get, because it was 45 caliber, our nighttime restrictions are .269. So I approached the DNR and actually got a permit to use for 30 days for coyote at night. And I didn't get any, a couple of raccoons. But as it turned out, no air rifles were allowed at night at all, period, for anything. Which was kind of unknown to most people. Anyway, that got changed also. So,
wow. You're a guy who gets things done, Bob.
Well, I try. To be honest, both of those were kind of no-brainers. There was no resistance from the National Resource Commission on the elevated platform at all when I brought it up. I don't know along the course of the 2 years if there was some or not. If there was, I was not alerted to anything, and they normally will call me if there's things going on that might be resistance to it. So, it wasn't nowhere near like the center fire at night.
Yeah, that was a battle.
That was very controversial. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. But the coyote population in different areas is really gotten out of hand. Around, I'm here in Eaton Rapids. It's a lot of small properties. I'm Eaton County. It's not 600-700 acres owned by one person, and then an adjoining 600-700 acres owned by another person. It's all pretty much 100-150 acres or so, and we've got a lot of people here hunting. So that's this area anyway. The coyote population seems to be down a little bit. From what it was based on before the center fire at night went through. But you still got a lot of areas where you get up north, where the properties are bigger, and the place you were just talking about, for instance, is probably pretty big. The coyotes still need a lot of thinning in those areas. So,
what is it about those critters? I mean, is it just that they're just so adaptable that allows them to be so prolific?
Well, there's a whole lot of write-ups about this and studies and such, and the major thing is that they will adapt to the area they've got and reproduce accordingly. In other words, if the population, it's said that if the population is high, then the litters will be less. And if the population is low and the environment, in other words, there's enough food and everything for them, then the litters grow. My experience, I can't say either way, Mike. That's just the science behind it that I've read. We had a mass movement into the suburbs here that happened 4 or 5 years ago. All of a sudden you're showing up in Detroit and, downtown Lansing and that kind of stuff. That just shows, I think what's happening. I think what was happening is, they're pushing out of the thicker stuff and learning to adapt in a suburb type setup. So I myself have been called to about 4 different situations like that, and some of it just needs to be sent over to a trapper. Of course, the problem with trapping in a situation like that is there's domestic dogs and cats moving around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a tough situation. I can tell you that I'm trying to think of the name of the organization now. Anyway, they would often get calls about nuisance coyotes and stuff. And of course, they work for the state, so their charges high, but they still get the calls. And I talked to them about a year ago, and they just don't get any calls anymore.
Well, yeah, because they got guys like you out there taking care of the problem in a different way.
Yeah, there's plenty of us, you know.
Hey, Bob, listen. Hang tight. I don't mean to interrupt, but I do have to take a break here. We're talking with Bob Abbott of Dog Tired TV. You can find those guys on Facebook. More with Bob after the break. But he is, as you can tell, he's a guy who is intimately involved in the predator hunting movement here in Michigan. He's been able to get a lot of things done, and he continues to get things done. So we'll talk about that and more after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. Then Ron Yesney from the DNR and this week's Ask Avery segment, all coming up in hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine. By now, you know all about Angler Quest boats. The center console design, binary wall system, and smooth ride with lots of room have anglers convinced a pontoon can be a great fishing rig. And the folks at Michigan-based Angler Quest continue to make their boats even better. Now, the signature rocket launcher Arch can tilt down. That's great for high water levels, trailering, and storage. Also, there's a new panfish model that's perfect for smaller inland lakes. The popular Pro Troll models continue to dominate big water for walleye, salmon, and trout, and the family fish can keep everyone happy, whether fishing or cruising. All Angler Quest boats are designed by fishermen and made in Michigan by skilled craftsmen using the latest technology. You can learn more online at anglerquestpontoons.com. That's anglerquestpontoons.com. With more models, upgraded designs, plenty of features, and bigger outboards, this is the perfect year for you to join the Angler Quest family.
You'll do better at Garber.
At Garber Chevrolet in Midland, Saginaw, Linwood, Caro, and now Chesaning. We're better for a reason. Like Garber's low price guarantee. Get incredible everyday low prices on a new Chevy Equinox, Silverado, Traverse, or Trax. Think you found a better deal somewhere else? Bring it to us, and we will beat it. Getting more options and choices is always better. And Garber's combined inventory is the Great Lakes Bay region's largest selection of new Chevrolets. Browse online at garberchevrolet.com. Then use our Buy From Home feature to purchase entirely online. And Garber Chevrolet's customer service is in a class of its own. We always put your needs first. Better prices, better selection. There's a reason why you'll do better at Garber Chevrolet in Midland, Saginaw, Linwood, Caro, and now Chesaning. Home of the low price guarantee. Online at garberchevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You'll do better at Garber.
Everybody needs to put gas in their tank, so the next time, why not save money with fuel rewards from Forward Shell convenience stores? With fuel rewards, you'll save at least 5 cents a gallon on every fill-up at the 26 Forward Shell convenience stores. Plus, you can earn additional savings with select products and special offers at those Forward stores. You can save 20, 30, even 40 cents a gallon. And the more you use fuel rewards, the more you can save. I use the Fuel Rewards program every time I stop by a Forward Shell convenience store. And you can too. Go to fuelrewards.com. That's fuelrewards.com. You can also download the Fuel Rewards app on your phone. The Fuel Rewards program at your local Forward Shell convenience store. A great way to save money every time you fill up. To learn more, check out forwardconvenience.com. That's forwardconvenience.com. 20 feet in the air is no time to be second-guessing your choice in tree stands. But with the new Primal line of stands, you'll never have to worry about comfort or noise. Primal's new jaw and truss ladder system gives you an extra firm and quiet attachment, even on irregular trees. The Primal Grip Jaw system features a strong set of jaws so you can securely clamp around the tree. The Backbone Stabilizer Truss lets you connect to almost any healthy tree and eliminates annoying squeaks. With single ladder stands from 16 to 22 feet and double stands up to 18 feet, new Primal tree stands have a model for every hunter. To learn more, check out the website primaltreestands.com. That's primaltreestands.com. Stalk your prey the Primal way with Primal Tree Stands. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Sheboygan on Big Country Gold, WCBY, 1240 AM, 100.7 FM. You can hear us in Houghton Lake on 98.5 WUPS. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Newberry on WNBY, 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by the Hunter Safety System. Hunter Safety System has revolutionized the way we look at tree stand safety. Bob Abbott a minute ago was talking about predator hunting from an elevated platform these days as well. Well, I don't care if you're predator hunting or bear hunting or deer hunting. If you're going to be up in the air on an elevated platform, I would strongly encourage you to wear some kind of a full body harness and a lifeline to get up the tree and back down. There are a lot of companies now that make full body harnesses. But about 12 years ago, when Hunter Safety System kind of kicked this off, they were the people who changed the category. Before then, you would get just a tangled mess of a safety harness. And once you took it out of the package and threw it on the tailgate of your truck, you couldn't figure out how to put it on. And a lot of people weren't wearing them just because they were too hard to wear. Well, Hunter Safety System has taken care of that. I still say Hunter Safety System would be an excellent Christmas present for a hunter on your list. You can get them at Jay's Sporting Goods and online at huntersafetysystem.com. That's huntersafetysystem.com. Please, I recommend Hunter Safety System because I know these guys and I think they make the best product out there. But if not Hunter Safety Systems, somebody's full body harness. Please wear a harness when you're up hunting off the ground. Bob Abbott of Dog Tired TV, you can find him on Facebook, is a guy who has been a leader in the predator hunting movement here in Michigan for the past several years. Bob, where I live, it's a city, but it's a medium-sized city. I live right on the edge of town. Of course, we can't hunt in town. And I was talking to the neighbor the other day, and he saw 3 coyotes run into the woodlot behind the house in the daytime. And we're hearing more and more about that. And unfortunately, in cases like mine, we can't hunt them there. And as you say, when you get in an urban or a city situation, you can't put out traps because you got all the domestic dogs running around. That's kind of a tough spot, isn't it?
Yeah, and that is a tough call. And that is where you need to get with the DNR. They will generally have some kind of a resolution for you. There are some actual, I can't think of the names of them now, which towns they were now, that have actually issued special permits for people to go in and try and eliminate them. One of the things that's come up is there's some high-powered PCP air rifles now, which are, pretty ideal for situations like that. And naturally, you have to get the coyotes in close for them, but that's an option.
Isn't that what you were testing the other night, though?
Well, yeah, that was last year.
Last year, okay.
Yeah, I got an Air Force Texan and SS 45 cal, and then a Wraith from Sightmark. I'm staff for Sightmark and Pulsar and have been for, I think, going on 8 years now. Mm-hmm. So they sent it to me so I could do a write-up on it. But speaking of that, the technology that for night vision and thermal vision and all has advanced so much, and even just the last 3 years. Not only that, the prices have come down quite a bit. You're getting a whole lot more. For instance, 8 years ago, I believe it was, I bought a Pulsar N850 digital night sight, and it cost me $2,200. You can get a unit now that far exceeds the capabilities of that for about $1,500. They've got the Wraith HD, which is full color during the day, and this is a Sightmark product now, not a Pulsar. And then they've got the 4K Max that's out. That's around $800, and those units there are just superb for night use.
Are they thermal?
Use.
What are these? Are they thermal?
No, these are digital night vision. I don't know if you're in the military or not, but the military used an analog night vision system, and this is a digital rather than an analog. So it's digital night vision, and you use an IR on top of it to throw out an illumination and help you see better. And some of the units need very little of that IR, such as the Digisites, the Pulsar Digisites. There's a lot of nights where you don't need an IR at all for that unit. And then, you get into your lower priced units, like the one for $5 and the one for $8, that they definitely need the assistance of the IR illuminator on it. But Sightmark and Pulsar, and actually, you've got other companies in the mix too, and all that competition just helps run the technology up and keep the prices where most of us can afford it. So I'm retired now, so
good for you.
Yeah. I retired 2 years ago last July. So.
Good for you. And it wasn't that long ago when I would have a conversation with somebody about hunting predators after dark. The topic was getting the brightest light that you could. We've come a long way from just using shining lights out there, haven't we?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the way I started. Robert Schultz was my hunting partner there and still is. And, we were, back then you had to buy the best day scope for light gathering that you could and run a colored light on it that threw a beam out, and just like you'd use a flashlight, only it'd be colored in red or colored in green. And those are still used, and I don't discourage somebody from getting into that because it's very economical for them to get into the game of night vision with it. But, the things have advanced now, and you get into, and you've got different IR bulb frequencies. You got an 850 and a 940. The 850 actually has a more visible glow from the source. It doesn't throw out a visible beam of any kind. But if a person or a coyote or whatever is looking directly at the source, they'll see that, whereas the 940 bulb, you have to be really close to see any kind of a glow out the end of it. So it's a little more stealthy, but it doesn't tend to perform as well with the lights that need, or with the scopes that need more light, more IR illumination.
Well,
it's been great.
Other than houndsmen, does anybody even hunt coyotes during the daytime anymore?
Oh yeah. There's still people hunting during the day. The main reason I went to night hunting was because, the farms that I'm hunting, it was mostly farm property, predator damage control, just too much activity during the day out there. So that's when I moved to using the lights over a day scope for hunting those kind of properties, and moved to more night, focused more on night. And now that's pretty much all I do. But no, there are guys that call them in successfully. Kevin Rott's done it a couple times, and quite often. And no, daytime hunting is still there. And in some areas, it may be even better to try them during the day because they're so pressured and hit so often at night now that, they get educated.
Well, that's what I was thinking. You guys have been so successful in making predator hunting after dark so popular these days. I was wondering if it has changed the way that coyotes are reacting to your hunting techniques and to your calls.
Oh, sure it has. Yeah, definitely. Back when my area here, I was primarily the only one that hunted, within 10 square miles of the area, and success rate was way up. There, of course, I think there were more coyotes then too. This property that I'm on right now, in the adjoining section, I hunted completely, and there were coyotes everywhere in here. And after about 2 years, I thinned them out pretty well, and they've been consistently hit now. So I don't think the population has dropped. I think they've moved on to other properties.
Yeah, behind my house.
Yeah, behind your house. We've chased them your place.
Whenever I post a picture on my Facebook page of somebody smiling, sitting over a couple of coyotes, somebody will chime in and say, "Good job, kill them all, kill them all." And Bob, I got to tell you, that sticks in my craw. I think it makes us as hunters look a little bit bloodthirsty, naive. I mean, as much as you love predator hunting, you're not one of those guys who wants to kill them all, right? I mean, we just need to just control them.
It's not going to happen, and just control them is the end goal. Keep them in control. We need to have predators. They help keep other things in check. So it's all a matter of balance. But you touch on another thing here. We've had before the COVID hit, we had quite a resistance coming up at the NRC meetings against the predator competitions to start, and they were taking pictures that guys were posting on social media and videos that guys were posting on social media, and they were picking the worst ones, and they're circulating those to people that are maybe on the fence, not have an opinion either way. And then they look at these pictures that to you and me are pretty innocent for the most part. And it makes us look really terrible to people who don't understand what's going on. I think there was some talk around the hunting community, and I think a lot of that stuff has kind of contained itself a little bit. But, the antis were picking right up on that stuff and going, look at this. This is what these hunters are like. Yeah. Where in reality, it's not really that way. There were some things being said and shown that you and I would go, that looks terrible. That's not what should be portrayed by us, and shouldn't be on social media. Those kind of things were really picked up by the antis and shown around. Yeah,
we've got to be careful these days what we put out there, because like you say, I mean, we can look at a picture, we as hunters look at a picture, and it's not a big deal if the wrong person sees it. It can really blow up in our face. Bob Abbott, always a pleasure to have you along with us. You can learn more about Bob on his Facebook page, Dog Tired TV. Bob, I'll wish you a good season and look forward to talking again soon. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, Ron Yesney from the DNR with an update on the upcoming snowmobile season in the UP, trail grooming, and more. And then we'll wrap up the hour with this week's Ask Avery segment right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Houghton Lake on 92.1 WTWS, The Twister. You can hear us in Holland on WHTC AM and FM, 1450 AM, 99.7 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Iron Mountain on WMIQ 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by MUCC's On the Ground program. OTG is a program to improve habitat for fish and wildlife across the state. For details, check out the Michigan United Conservation Club's website. That's MUCC.org, MUCC.org. And don't forget, you can save 25% on your MUCC membership if you use the promo code Mike All caps, capital M, capital I, capital K, capital E. Want to talk now with Ron Yesney of the Michigan DNR about snowmobiling in the UP. Ron, welcome to the show. How are you?
Glad to be here, Mike. I'm doing great.
Hey, listen, so we never know, right? We never know what Mother Nature is going to throw at us as far as the snow and the conditions for the season. But just looking ahead, I guess, number one thing is how would COVID, is that affecting anything? Is that affecting your grooming schedule at all?
A little bit, but no, it won't affect our grooming schedule at all. I think what it's really going to affect is, how snowmobilers interact. And, typically we have snowmobilers that will ride from community to community and find restaurants and places to eat that may not be open. So there's a lot of talk on the internet, and there's a lot of talk in the snowmobiling community about, kind of going back to the old days where, snowmobilers would be bringing with them hot dogs and starting a fire and finding ways to eat on their own. So that's one thing that would change. But as far as our grooming schedules and our ability to manage the trail systems, it'll stay the same.
When I was in the UP last fall bear hunting, I was absolutely astounded at the number of side-by-side ATVs and how big that is. What's the relationship between snowmobile trails and those side-by-sides? I mean, are they groomed enough that you can run a side-by-side on those trails, or are they even allowed on those trails?
For the most part, they are not. So we do have some shared trail systems, and those are marked with confidence markers that allow side-by-sides. But by and large, like our snowmobile trails, and our ORV routes are ORV routes. And with the snowmobile trail system, it's interconnected, meaning you can go from St. Ignace to Sault Ste. Marie to Keweenaw to Ironwood and back and stay on a trail the whole time. And the only way you can do that, the only reason you can do that is that we use private lands and other property ownership metrics to connect these trails. And it's just not doable with ATVs at this time.
Gotcha.
We are working at expanding that ORV route system, and in the UP we've added over 400 miles of trail in the last 2 years, but we're still only up to about half of what we have in the snowmobile world. A lot of that's private land. A lot of that snowmobile trails are on private land, and those private landowners issue us permission to be there, but that permission is only for December 1st through March 31st, and it's for snowmobile use only. So if you're there with an ATV or side-by-side, technically you'd be trespassing.
Well, and if you're running across private land, doesn't that raise the question, too, about that private landowner, if he sees things he doesn't like, can rescind that access for the following year? Absolutely.
So that's what we run into a lot is we are, especially myself and my colleagues, we're in the business of keeping those private landowners happy with what we're doing and have them feeling good about being a part of the snowmobile trail system and promoting our economy and promoting winter recreation. So we can't do anything to jeopardize those relationships. So in a few cases, we have been able to get permission from private landowners for off-road vehicle use, and we've been able to expand our system. But in a lot of cases, private landowners aren't willing to do that, mostly because of the impact to the land itself and the fact that they're more apt to be using the land during those summer months than they are in the winter.
How often are the trails groomed, or does it depend entirely on the snowfall?
Actually, not so much on snowfall. It depends on use. So we have some guidelines that we use for when to groom and when not to groom. So we groom whenever it's going to be beneficial to the trail system that the trail be groomed, that there's enough traffic to justify it being groomed, and that there's enough snow.
And remind me, is there a sticker or a license that we're getting that pays for this grooming?
Yeah. Snowmobile trail permits $48 for 1 year, and that pays for the grooming. And just to put that into perspective, if a snowmobiler has one snowmobile and he buys a snowmobile trail permit, that'll pay for about 9.5 miles of trail to be groomed. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are a snowmobiler and you buy a trail permit and you you ride over 9.5 miles of groomed trail, then you're getting your money's worth.
And that's going to happen. More than 9.5 miles, that's going to happen for sure.
Most of the time, but, we try to get that message out there because a lot of folks don't really equate that. They don't realize how expensive it is to manage and maintain grooming equipment and snowmobile trails. There's a lot that goes into it. We have to buy a lot of equipment. We have to buy fuel. We have to buy insurance. There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, and there's a lot of it involves money.
Ron doesn't everything. Ron, real quick, got a website where we can learn more?
Yeah, we're on Michigan.gov /DNR, and then you have a choice to decide what you want to be doing. Choose snowmobiling, and there's a whole ton of information there.
There you go. Michigan.gov/DNR. Thank you, Ron Yesney from the DNR, for bringing us up to speed on that. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. Wrap up this second hour with this week's Ask Avery segment right here on Outdoor Magazine. Security Credit Union wants to thank you for helping to make them one of Michigan's fastest growing credit unions. Check out Security's Debit Rewards program, where you can earn points just by using your debit or Titanium Rewards credit card. Redeem those points for great gifts and merchandise. Or how about the Save to Win account? That's a Security Credit Union account that gives you all the benefits of a traditional savings account, plus the chance to win big. Every $25 you deposit into this share certificate earns you an entry into the monthly and quarterly drawings. The more you save, the more chances to earn, up to 10 entries per month. You'll build up your savings, earn interest and dividends, and have a chance at multiple prizes. And remember, Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. Federally insured by the NCUA. Have you tried the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks from Michigan Brand Meats? They feature two of my favorites, elk and pepper, and I think they taste great. I've been working with the Grillo family of Michigan Brand for a few years now, and I couldn't be happier. Michigan Brand is family owned and based right here in Michigan, and they make lots of great products. From jerky, sausage, and those Hunter Sticks to their famous Michigan Brand hams, you can't go wrong with Michigan Brand meats. Plus, Michigan Brand can process your boned-out wild game, too. Check out the website, michiganbrand.net, for more info. That's michiganbrand.net. You can buy the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks on that website. Plus, you can get them at Jay's Sporting Goods, all Forward convenience stores, Jack's Fruit Markets, and many other great stores, too. There's a complete list on the website. Again, that's michiganbrand.net for the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks, the outstanding Michigan Brand hams, and lots more. michiganbrand.net.
It's a complicated world we live in. Right about now, I'll bet your head is spinning like a tornado with news and opinions and conflicting do this and don't do that recommendations. Some days, you just want to throw up your hands, go to the woods, and stay there. And that's not a bad idea. Jay's Sporting Goods encourages you to get back to your roots. Do some simple, traditional things for a while. In Michigan's great outdoors, space is one thing we have plenty of. So put as much social distance as you like between you and everyone else, including all your social media pals who somehow just recently became experts on every topic. And one more thing. Before you head out, head into Jay's Sporting Goods. Because even though there are shortages of a lot of things these days, Jay's has just what you need to make the most of your escape to our beautiful wide open spaces. It's the gateway to social distancing the way God intended. Jay's Sporting Goods, Clare and Gaylord.
It's time to think about your pig. You know, the propane tank in your backyard that heats your home. Well, there's no better company to fill your pig than Forward Energy, covering over 20 counties. Forward Energy is a family-owned and operated propane supplier that's fueled area homes, farms, businesses, and hunters and anglers since 1925. Fill your pig this year. Visit forwardenergy.com to find out about new customer pricing and programs.
With Forward Energy.
When you buy a Michigan hunting or fishing license, you're helping to fund conservation efforts across the state. The majority of funding for taking care of Michigan's fish and wildlife comes from you, hunters and anglers, not state taxes. So on behalf of the Michigan Wildlife Council, we'd like to thank you for your part in ensuring that Michigan's hunting and fishing heritage will be here for generations. Learn how the Michigan Wildlife Council promotes the role of hunting and fishing at hereformioutdoors.org.
You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Tawas on WIOS, AM and FM, 1480 AM, 106.9 FM. You can hear us in Sandusky on WMIC, 660 AM. And you can hear us in Ludington on News 97, 98, 98.7 WLDN. The Ask Avery segment is brought to you each week by Security Credit Union. Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. The way the Ask Avery segment works is this is your chance to interact directly with the show, to interact directly with me. If you have a question you would like to ask me or have me pose to somebody else, you can email it to me, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com, at Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com, or you can send me a message on just about any of the social media outlets. That's what Kevin Wilson did this week. He sent me a Facebook message. He says, hey, Mike, whatever happened to all those feral hogs the DNR claims to be running loose? He said, I haven't seen any pictures of them. You know, back in the mid-'90s, supposedly we had 10 to 20,000, and now where are they all gone? A good question, Kevin, a very good question. At one time, the DNR was very concerned about feral hogs. Now, I never saw the number 10 to 20,000. The number I saw is they were estimating the feral hog population in Michigan at 3,000 to 5,000, and those they said were a result of hogs that got away from the hunting enclosures and got out in the wild and bred. And for a while, there were populations of feral hogs in Michigan that were huntable populations. I know several people who have killed wild pigs in Michigan, and a couple of them used to target them and kill several a year, but not so much anymore. So I posed the question to the folks in Lansing. I said, well, what's the number now? Can you give me an estimate on the number of hogs now, and why have they gone away? They said, no, we cannot give you an estimate because we don't know. But they said there aren't that many now. I said, why? What happened? Well, the consensus is that when they declared them an invasive species, it helped because then you could shoot them anytime, for any reason, without a license, daytime, nighttime, didn't matter. They just wanted them eradicated. And that really has been quite successful. So you would be hard-pressed, maybe except for some areas of the UP right now, hard-pressed to find enough hogs to have a huntable population. But that is the goal, right? We don't want feral hogs in Michigan. They are an invasive species, and we don't want them taken over like they have some southern states. But that one, we dodged the bullet on that one, so that's good news. The next question, this came to me, it's a twofer this week, came to me from Richie Rich, I don't think this is his real name, in an email. He says, Mike, whatever happened to the CWD crisis? Have we witnessed a true life miracle, or perhaps, as suspected all along, a vehicle to increase fine revenue through a ban on baiting? That is something I hear all the time. So I went to the sources in Lansing. I said, can you give me the number of illegal baiting citations issued since the bait ban went into effect in the Lower Peninsula? And the answer is no. They can't. They can't give me that number. They don't have it. They do say, they admit that there have been fewer citations written, especially this last year. For one thing, and I said, okay, is this because there are fewer violations or are there fewer wardens in the field? Well, the baiting tickets are down because there are 27 fewer officers in the field now than there were before. And this last season, several of those officers were also on quarantine. So the illegal baiting is still going on. But is it a way for the DNR to make money? The answer to that is no. Fines and costs go to the courts and public libraries, not to the DNR. Restitution for the state for the illegally killed game, over limits, out of season, illegal methods, have to be ordered by the court. That money is sent to the DNR's Fish and Game Fund. It does not go to the law enforcement fund. So there is some money that goes to the Fish and Game Fund. The fund is used by the whole department, not the DNR's law enforcement. Even the weapons and gear that game wardens seize and condemn goes to a state auction, and that money is put in the state's general fund. So the Fish and Game and general funds do fund the law enforcement division, but the money is used by all. Now, as a breakdown, when they write a ticket, when the DNR writes a ticket, say it's a $260 fine, just use that as an example, or $260 total, fine and court costs. Of that $260, say it's a fine of $100, that goes to the local library. Court cost, $50, goes to the county court. There's another conservation fee of $10 that goes to the libraries, and the $100 restitution does go to the Fish and Game Fund. So the DNR isn't making money and getting rich off a few illegal baiting citations. Here's something else I learned, maybe a dirty little secret. A lot of the counties, now keep in mind, if a game warden writes a ticket, it has to go to the county court system. A lot of the counties will allow people who have been ordered to pay restitution to set up a payment plan, and they can pay as little as $10 a month. So if you had an $8,000 illegal deer fine, they're paying $10 a month in some cases to pay that off. Isn't that interesting? So no, the DNR's not getting rich on the illegal baiting tickets. I don't believe that's why it was put into place. As always, thank you to my friends at Security Credit Union for making the Ask Avery segment possible. SecurityCU.org, SecurityCU.org. If you have a question for me, you can email it to me, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com, or hit me up on any of the social media outlets. We'll take a break for the top of the hour. When we come back, talk a little fall steelhead fishing with Lance Keene of Steelhead Hunter Charters right here on Outdoor Magazine.